the chosen one, the maestro, and finally,
Can we have a double-decker bus?
the bus driver. Mourinho is the type of coach that would do anything to win. And when I say anything, I mean anything. So why is he the most hated coach? We first have to look at his most annoying tactics, and that's his defense. Most coaches love making football beautiful, but sometimes beauty can cost you a championship. Jose doesn't care about how he wins, as long as he wins. And because of that, he's been highly criticized for his tactics, one of the most famous being parking the bus. This is what many call the ugly side of football. But what is parking the bus? This tactic involves getting a goal as fast as possible, which you might say isn't bad. And if I were on the pitch, I wouldn't mind scoring within the first few minutes to get a boost of confidence. But this is where things start to get really ugly for the rest of the game. Mourinho sends his disciples to defend as if their life depended on it. So instead of a typical 4-3-3 formation, you see players line up inside the box protecting the keeper, and if you look hard enough, you'll see the Great Wall of China. This was how Mourinho managed to win so many trophies. But sometimes the bus isn't enough.
We park the plane, not the bus.
What Mourinho does may win him games, but coaches still hate him, especially for what he says. As a coach, you should be leading by example, but for Mourinho, rules don't apply to him. Any football fan who thinks about an arrogant coach will definitely picture him. Jose has always been in conflict with everyone around him, even his own players. One scenario where he crossed the line was in 2015 when he was the coach of Chelsea. During a match, the Blues were forced to play with 10 men after Courtois received a red card after bringing down Swansea striker Gomez in the box. To add insult to injury, Eden Hazard, who was the golden boy of Chelsea, got injured and he had to be taken out to be treated. Jose refused since he didn't want to be down to 9 players, and that's when team doctor Eva Canero took matters into her own hands. She went into the pitch and started treating him, and Jose lost it and started insulting her from the sidelines. In 2010, Mourinho faced Pep Guardiola's Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League semi-finals, and one of Jose's men received a red card. Pep saw this opportunity and called Ibrahimovic to tell him about the changes in tactics. Jose snuck up to hear their conversation and told Guardiola, "Don't start celebrating yet because the match isn't over." Inter luckily beat Barcelona 3-2 on aggregate, and they won the famous treble of Italy. Mourinho puts tremendous pressure on his players to play aggressively, and this sometimes backfires. During his time in Real Madrid, his players got the most cards and the most suspensions. The worst yet would have been during the 2010-2011 season when we saw the most heated El Clásico match. Messi was having one of his best seasons at Barcelona, and Mourinho wanted to stop that. Mourinho intentionally had his players be aggressive with Messi, which is where his true intentions came out. He wanted to injure Messi. Barcelona destroyed Madrid 5-0, and this was one of Mourinho's most humiliating losses. Looks like karma caught up to him. Jose was very critical of his players, and oftentimes didn't let them show their true potential. Kevin De Bruyne is the perfect example. Mourinho didn't give him enough playtime, so he went on loan to Bremen. He got the playtime he deserved there and definitely proved himself as a capable midfielder. But that still wasn't enough for Mourinho, so he released De Bruyne in 2014. Kevin moved to Wolfsburg and ended up being the 2015 German Player of the Season, and he's now one of the best midfielders in the world, playing under Pep Guardiola, and this would be Mourinho's biggest regret. Nathan Ake also was affected by the chosen one in Chelsea. Ake's talent made him rise up the rank fast, but when Jose was appointed coach, he sent him back to the under-23 Chelsea team. Big mistake. Ake left Stamford Bridge, joined Bournemouth in 2017, and ended up being the best player on the team. In 2020, Ake got the recognition he deserved and was signed under Pep Guardiola. Both Ake and KBD have grown under Pep as they helped them win the famous 2023 treble. It looks like one man's trash is another man's treasure. When you're a disciple of Mourinho, you have to get used to the pressure, but not everybody adapts so well, and Dele Alli is a perfect example. He was one of England's best wonder kids, and when Mourinho joined Tottenham, Ali got lazy.
Lazy.
Stood already. Where is Dele? I understood already that you are a lazy guy in training.
Mourinho knew Ali had potential, but he couldn't handle the pressure. So instead, he turned to video games. Ali was focused on Twitch, and it seemed as if he gave up on football, and this is where his downfall started. He left Spurs in 2022, went to Everton, went on loan, and ended up playing for a small team in Turkey, Besiktas. Ali is 27 and basically ruined his career because he couldn't control his balls. Mourinho has also been in conflict with referees, such as when he recently lost to Sevilla in the Europa League finals. He went after Anthony Taylor, the referee in charge of that final, and said,
Disgrace, man. It's a disgrace, man.
Jose's ego is what destroys him.
So I arrive here with my ego big. You know? Now it's even higher.
After his current team, Roma, lost to the final in Sevilla, he threw away his silver medal to the fans. The media also plays a huge role in making Mourinho look bad. But to be honest, he makes it too easy.
And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together.
And oh boy, does Mourinho know how to make a show out of his press conferences. They're straight up like comedy shows, which explains why he trends almost every week on social media.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
And when he lost the game to Liverpool, this is what he had to say.
I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. I have nothing to say.
But by far, Jose's biggest problem is commitment. He has, on average, only stayed with teams for 2 years. And the exception is Chelsea. From 2004 to 2007, he had great success in Chelsea, winning back-to-back Premier League titles. But everything came crashing down when he had to leave the Blues just because he couldn't get along with the board. Mourinho coached Inter Milan for a few years, then Real Madrid, but it wasn't enough. It's like he wanted his ex back. Jose returned to Chelsea full of energy and ready to make his mark again. But that dream quickly faded. Mourinho never brought Chelsea to the glory they once had in 2004 to 2007, and he only managed to secure them a Premier League title, which wasn't enough. But of course, history repeats itself, and Mourinho just couldn't get along with the higher-ups. And to make things worse, he nearly got Chelsea relegated in the 2015-2016 EPL season, finishing 10th. So he got sacked, and he saw his next opportunity at Man United. Mourinho made his mark by winning the Europa League that first season, but then conflict started. His defensive tactics were frowned upon by the board. Mourinho didn't care, but that's not how things work in Man United. The board was in charge of deciding who was to play and which tactics were to be used. But Jose Mourinho is the chosen one, and he decides what he wants. During a training session, he told Pogba to leave. And rumors say Jose didn't like Paul Pogba's Instagram post where he was laughing after United lost to Derby County on penalties. And you guessed it, history repeated itself, and Mourinho left Man United in 2018 because of conflict with the board. The man just can't get along with anybody. Mourinho, the bus driver, won so many trophies, but not without controversy. He's the maestro of stirring up emotions, causing chaos in the football community. He calls himself the chosen one who turns water into wine, but he uses that wine to fuel the fires of controversy.